Hi boys and girls, today we're going to be creating our own loom, and we're going to add some warp strings to it so that we can use a weft string to weave a piece of art. So you will find a sample loom on your table. There's a couple of these to share, and everyone's going to have one of these. And these are just a piece of cardboard cut into the same size and shape as this one. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one you use. I'm just going to grab this green one here, and you're going to lay the one that's already cut on top of yours and take a pencil, and there are 7 little notches here. You're going to use those notches as a guide for your pencil and just draw some little lines onto your board, and then also do it on the other end. Should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then either hand this to someone else or set it aside, because we're not going to actually use those. Those are my ones where I cut the notches a little bit wide so that you guys will be able to use a pencil in there, so they're not exactly the way we want them for weaving. Okay, so you're going to cut into yours on those little lines. And you should have 7 on each side. Just make 7 little snips. And then you're going to choose a color of yarn for your warp. Okay, the warp, that is the strings. Let me show you on this one, the strings that go up and down. Okay, so this is the warp, and the weft is the string that you weave through it that goes this way. Okay, so let's get our loom started by creating a warp. I'm going to use this color today. Start by taping it onto the back. So I'm just going to hook it through this first little hole here, like that. And I don't really need that much there. And then I'm going to take a piece of masking tape and tape that to the back, because I don't want that to slip out. And then you're going to come down to the other end, put it through that hole, and then you're going to loop it around into the next hole. So all you'll see is like a little loop there, and then come back down, go through the next hole, and loop it around that one and come back out the front. So a little bit hard to get through. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to come back down, go in, loop it around, down, loop it around. It does not want to go through the slit. There we go. Down, loop around. Going to do that 7 times. And when you get done, you'll be back on the other end, right here. You're going to flip it over to the back, cut it, and tape it again. Okay, now my loom is ready for me to begin weaving. So I'm going to get my weft string. I've done my warp, that's this. The loom is the actual cardboard piece. You could use a cereal box or anything. If you wanted to make your own loom at home, you could easily make one of these just with some cardboard and cut some slits. It does have to be an odd number of slits though if you decide to do this at home. Those of you working at home, that's probably what you're going to want to do, is get a cereal box, cut yourself a rectangle, make 7 slits in each side, and voila, you have yourself a loom. Okay. Color choices, like you could pick a yarn that has lots of different colors and then you don't have to switch, or I think both of these do that. This one, the person just picked 2 colors they liked, and they'd weave with purple for a while, then yellow for a while, then purple, then yellow. I think this one is like a solid color, and then this mixture color for a while, and then a solid color and a mixture color. This one is a kind of yarn that would change on its own. Here's another one. If you're super industrious, and actually I think this one was this yarn here. If you're super industrious and you weave enough, you might have enough to make yourself a little pouch like this. It just kind of flips over. It's got an opening inside. In order to do this one, you have to stitch up the sides. You kind of fold it and stitch it, but that, you can make yourself something like that if you work hard. You'll need a pretty long one here though. This is double, so it's this length plus this length again 2 times. So like 3 times as long as these. This one wouldn't quite make it. This would make like a mini. It would be very big. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to pick a color to weave through here. Actually, I think I want to do this one. You're going to take about a yard worth of string. Okay, so what I do is I just kind of stretch it out at an arm's length. Ooh, this one's pretty tangly. Maybe I have to pick something else. Oh, there, I got it going. Okay, so I'm going to pick about an arm's length. That means from the tip of my fingers here, I'm going to stretch it from the tip of my fingers all the way and stretch my arm way out and then stretch my other arm out. So I guess that would be 2 arms lengths. So I'm going to do 2 arms lengths and snip it. And then I can always tie on more when I run out of yarn, okay? Some people like to just weave with their fingers where they just kind of lift up a thread and poke this under, and then lift up a thread and poke this under, and lift up the next and poke it under. So you're going to go over, under, over, under. To show you that though, and also some of you might like to use this anyway, you can use a popsicle stick. Just put your thread on the popsicle stick and take a piece of tape and just put it over it. And when you need to tie on, you'll just take that tape off and tie a knot onto this. But I'll show you how this goes. So you're going to go over, under, over, under, over, under, and then pull it through. Now the first one, when you pull it through, you're just going to pull, pull, pull until you have a little tail sticking out. And that little tail, to hold that tail tight, I usually just tuck it into this first notch, and that way it won't let it. So see, it's tucked through there. It's going to hold it. Okay, if you want, you could probably put a piece of tape on it back here. I'm not going to. I don't think it's necessary. Okay, so you can see that when I came off, I went over the red one here, right? Can you guys all see that? So I went under this one and over this one. When I go back, I don't want to go over this one again because that'll just take all my stitches out. I want to go the opposite. I want to start under. Okay, so under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and then pull it through. And one of the very most important parts of this is when you pull it through, don't pull it so tight that this warp string starts to pull in. See, if I do that, that's too tight. I'm going to back that up. I never want to do it that tight. You'll end up with, what you'll end up if you do that, if you pull too tight when you're pulling it through, and you want to push it up tight like this, but you don't want to pull too tight that way. If you do that, yours will, instead of yours being nice and long and straight, yours will kind of go in the middle and then go out. So it'll look like an hourglass shape. It won't be as, so yeah, these are more like a rectangle. If you do it too tight, yours will go in and out. All right, so I'm ready to go back the other way. What do I need to pay attention to? I need to look at how I ended. So on this one, I ended with it underneath. You can see my purple is underneath the red, so that means I want to start over that red and under this one. I don't want to go under the one that I already just went under. So opposite. Each time you go the opposite way, you want to do the opposite kind of weaving. Okay. Now I want to be sure I don't pull too tight here or it'll pull this one in. So I'm going to just kind of make sure it's level and then push it up. Now I'm going to go back the other way. Be sure you check. This time I ended, I was over. My purple is over. So the one that, whatever your weft, if your weft was on top of the warp, you want to start under. If it was under, you want to start over. So I'm going the opposite each time. That's very important. And then you're just going to continue doing this. You'll get into your own rhythm, your own pattern. Tie on if you need to. Whenever you get kind of short, I could keep doing this for quite a while because I've got a lot of string, and you will be too. But when you run out of string, you're just going to take the new piece of string and tie it on to the tip of your old one. Let me show you an example here. So when you get to be about this long, I wouldn't want to go, if I weave it back through here, I'm only going to have that much string, and that would be hard for me to tie in a knot. So I'm going to stop right about here. Leave it however much you think it would take you to be able to easily tie it in a knot, and then you can just get your new piece of string, lay them together. There's more than one way to tie a knot, but my way, or one of the ways I do it, is I lay them next to each other, and then I make a loop around, and then take them to the back, just twist it around and pull it through the hole there. Okay, and then snug it up, and there I have my new string. And I would probably tighten that really good and then snip this off so it's not so long, like that. And just keep weaving. All right, have fun. Can't wait to see what you create. This is a very relaxing thing to do. Weaving is really relaxing. You can just sit and talk to your friends and weave away. All right.